Hello, hello. Welcome to today's STEAM Team Challenge. My name is Miss Julie and I'm from the Warrenville Public Library in Warrenville, Illinois. Today's challenge is all about conductive and insulating dough. We're going to make squishy circuit creations. So in your supply bag, you should have a battery pack with a back to it as well, 2 batteries. You should have this LED bulb. You should have a ball of conductive dough. I actually made this conductive dough for you, but there's also a recipe on the handout there if you want to make more. And then you should have ingredients to make your own insulating dough. And we'll talk about the differences between those two doughs a bit later. But the first thing you're going to go ahead and do is make your insulating dough. So you should have approximately the right ingredients for it. You should have approximately the right amount of flour, sugar, vegetable oil, and then you'll just need to add a 1/2 cup of tap water. And then if you want to use food coloring, you're more than welcome. Just don't use green. I actually dyed this green on purpose so that you'd be able to tell the difference between the insulating dough you created and our conductive dough. So choose a color other than green for your insulating dough if you decide to add color to it. So if you want to pause this video while you create your insulating dough, that's great. And then you can come back for the rest of this. Another note is the insulating dough that you make can keep up to a week, but you can also freeze it if you'd like. And then this conductive dough here should be good for several weeks, but again, you can freeze it if you want it for longer. So using our supplies here, our insulating dough, our conductive dough, our LED, and our batteries, we're going to create a circuit that will light up our LED bulb, our little light bulb here. So first, we're going to take our conductive dough here, and we're going to make 2 separate balls to get started. So the conductive dough allows electricity to flow through it. And a lot of that is because it has salts and cream of tartar and tap water. And all of those substances break apart into a bunch of tiny ions where the electricity can jump to and fro. So that's why we have our conductive dough here. So I'm going to go ahead and angle this down so you can see better. So we have our batteries in our battery pack here. We have our LED bulb. I'll go ahead and cover this up now that it's all set. And we have 2 balls of our conductive dough. First things first, you want to make sure they are not touching each other. There needs to be a space in between. But you can go ahead and take your LED bulb, and there's 2 legs on it, and it's sort of like a positive negative side, like a battery. You're going to put one leg in one and one in the other. Then, to make it a full closed circuit, you're going to connect these wires in there as well. Now, if you try it and it didn't work, that means I need to try it the other way. There we go. So that is the correct positive, negative sides to create our circuit here. Now, I asked you to leave a space there because what happens when we connect them is the light does not work. This is what would be called a short circuit. In order to have our full closed circuit, there needs to be 2 pathways to and from our battery unit for our electricity to travel through. So that's why we have our insulating dough. So because we're going to create a sculpture of sorts, we need something to stand in between our conductive dough. The insulating dough is different than the conductive dough because it does not allow electricity to flow through it. It's what's called resistive. It's made with ingredients that don't have a lot of ions in it. Actually, tap water does have some ions, so really it is best if you can get some distilled water or even deionized water, but tap water works just fine for today's purposes. But basically, it doesn't have substances that have a bunch of ions for the electricity to flow through. So that is why we will use it for our sculpting purposes today. So I'll go ahead and go back down here. So now that we have our 2 balls of green here, we can go ahead and sculpt them together with our insulating dough in between. Make sure that one leg is still on each of those. Let's see. And then there we go. We have our light. Okay. So now I challenge you to create your own LED sculpture with your conductive dough and your insulating dough. This can be a little tricky, I will say, because you have to kind of get those wires in the right way. But I would love to see any of your creations that you make, and I hope you have a lot of fun creating your squishy circuits. Thank you and have a great day.